finding fulfillment is the goal. So as we're building our skill sets, as we're learning, etc., be in tune with what turns you on. And if learning to take and disassemble the value of someone that's been in the industry for quite some time, and when those of us in our third quarter and fourth quarter outlaw mentioned, we tend to live in the past. Some of that may be more language than really living there. And the language is we apply ourselves to how we were. And so we say, I remember when, I used to do this. And so as soon as we say that, as soon as a third quarter or fourth quarter older person says that to young ears, it's like, here we go again. Yeah. Because we've been in the habit of living up to the expectations of others and hearing all these stories from others. So we stop listening. So we also believe in the art of communication. So how we communicate in a way that it helps people to hear, we get into that. But just changing the language where a young person won't hear, oh, it's time to shut off now because this is somebody going down memory lane. The benefit is that someone in the site that has experience, has the wisdom to share. There's so much that can be learned while that young person is developing their skills, even if they are at a point of that big question mark of, I really don't know if this is what I want to do. Right. But when we think about whatever our occupation is, there's a potential for a career path. There are so many paths and opportunities in this industry. We just connected with a young man within one of our client shops who was a painter, and he was a hell of a painter. He was a valuable painter. That gentleman was in an organization that we are grateful to have been partnered with, and the owners are just phenomenal. That he had been there for a minute. He got married, he had children, his needs changed, his desires grew. And right now he is now starting a position with a manufacturer where his career is, he is now shifted to the other side. Right. And the owners are just tickled pink. It is so bittersweet for them. Yeah, right. Right. But they are tickled pink that he had that growth because they've watched him grow. So that's a story. So wherever we are, recognizing that we're skill building in the second quarter, and the second quarter is one of the most tumultuous time periods. Here we're talking about, find joy. What makes you tick? While in the second quarter, you're sitting with, I need a job so I can pay some bills. And if I want to get out of my parents' house, I don't want to hear their mouths, or I am out on my own and I need to figure out how to make it work. Well, if you're not, if you're not getting enough on the first job, you might have you need a second job, but that's even more all the reason why we want to learn to become efficient in the work that we do in the time allotted. So get efficient, figure out how to make it fun, create fun, learn, build the skills, and then, growth occurs, career opportunities are there. That skill building can be leveraged into so many opportunities. And so that is one of the ways that we believe is the key to continue growth and expansion as you climb that performance mountain. And doesn't have to be all drudgery, because there are obstacles along the way. There are curves and paths. And I think globally, we've all found there's always a need to figure out how to pivot and shift. Yeah.
I'm going to also bring the connection back to the game of life in four quarters, when you have in an organization and you have these different generations working in the organization. And for the different generations to see that grid and where they fit in the grid. And so the younger person brings value. The older person, more mature person, brings value. Yeah. And those two value propositions work together. For example, the younger person knows about technology, computers, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
The older person may or may not.
Right.
So the two of them can really work together because the younger person needs experience.
Mm-hmm.
The older person needs technology experience.
Mm-hmm.
So when they see that opportunity to really work together for a shared purpose, the relationship gets better versus not seeing it and thinking, well, he's a millennial or she's a millennial, or he's an old head, he's not going to listen. Because we see that in organizations too.
Right.
When they see that grid and see how the value that they currently have and how that value could be utilized in the roles that they play and how those roles, various roles in an organization, work together like this, then the mind space opens.
Yeah.
And then they look at each other with a different perspective versus the negative perspective, a more positive and open perspective. It's a very powerful scenario when you see that grid and see where you fit in and where you are in that continuum, because the person that's in the third quarter, late third quarter, as I am, thank God I made it. in the fourth quarter, because tomorrow is not guaranteed.
That's right.
I used to play with my age, but now I'm proud. I'm like, oh, I'm 60. Woo! I hope I make 70. But anyway, that person that's 63, that's in that fourth quarter, and we call it legacy. What's going to be your legacy? Because you've been here 60 plus years. Are you going to be known for someone that didn't want to make a difference? Or do you want to be known for someone that did make a difference?
Yeah.
You help that young person grow. You stretch that young person's imagination so they could get better. How are you going to be remembered?
Yeah.
When they hear that, it's like, I got to quit being an asshole.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to be known for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Right.
I mean, we've had many people come to us and say, wow, man, I just been acting out of my old habits and my old behavior.
Yes.
And it's like you did a little mental conditioning on me.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned a takeaway. Here's the biggest takeaway. We're all in this together. In these organizations, there are roles that need to be filled by people. We want the people in those roles to have the mindset of a professional mindset. There are no more employees. They're stakeholders.
Yeah.
Because they want to survive and they want to succeed in the role that they play. And if they can survive and succeed in the role by giving that role its best, the company grows. The company gets better.
Right.
And when the company grows, we all grow. But we've seen people who work in silos. They don't care about the next operation upstream or downstream. And when they don't care because they're working in this silo, they got this selfish mentality, the company can't grow. Yeah. Because it's dealing with supplements. Right. It's dealing with high cycle time. It's dealing with a CSI score that's too doggone low to get anybody's attention. Because people are not getting their vehicles back. But man, when people open up and they find a way, they see a compelling reason why they need to work together. You're going to be here anyway. So why not find a way to work together? Yeah. Because you got to survive. You want to succeed. So you need an opportunity. Yeah. If it's not with this company X, it'll be with company Y. So, wherever you go, you're taking yourself with you. So let's find a way. Let's find a way. Yeah. To put away all those negative thoughts, all that silo thinking and only thinking about self. I just got to get it for myself and not worry about the next team. Remember, because he or she wants to survive too. Yeah. And succeed. And Lord knows the owner does, who's putting up all the
that's right.
All the risk. So that's where Team Outlaw really loves to play. See, we have, they talk about the PPP, we have the PPP. And everything we do is connected to the 3 P's in our business: purpose, people, process. And in each one of those P's are a lot to unpack. Because in those 3 P's is the culture of the business. And the culture is to cultivate purpose. The culture is to cultivate the people.
Yeah.
The culture is to cultivate the process.
And
it's culture. What does your culture cultivate? Is it cultivating silos?
Yeah.
Is your culture cultivating a professional mindset? Because when people think like professionals in their roles, a professional will read the manufacturer spec. A professional will read the RO. They won't just look at the front and back, they read the RO. A professional. But when somebody's thinking like selfish and don't care, they don't read. And in this business today, you have to enjoy reading. Because if you don't read what's expected, a mistake is going to be made.
Yeah.
Now, do I need to calm down? Now, the reason we deal with the whole person, because in our workshops, we've had people say, you know, when I'm home, I'm thinking about work. When I'm at work, I'm thinking about home. Well, if that's the condition you're in, then you're never present.
Right.
So when you're working on that opportunity and you're not present, what do you think is going to be, what's going to be the result of that?
That's right.
It's called a mistake.
Yeah.
And mistake costs time. And we're in the time business in collision, right? We want to get that cycle time down, not up.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Well, the buy-in.
Cycle time is connected to CSI.
Yeah.
So if your cycle time is going down, your CSI is going up because people are happy.
Yeah. Well, like you said, you were talking about, you know, being a part of the collective. And I can see it in the shops that I work with. When you have the employees feel part of the group, part of the unit, like you call them stakeholders, they feel as if they are part of something. It's not the company and then they show up. And when they show up, it's, you know, that they're like some side person. They are a part of things. It's such a huge difference in how efficient the shop works, the kindness that's shown between the people in the shop, and then to guests and customers coming to the shop, to the insurance companies that are coming out. I mean, you guys see it. I see it. Just for people listening, I used to work for a shop that worked with Kandy and Outlaw. And that shop and I worked with a lot of shops at this point, and the culture there was incredible. And it was because the owner had buy-in with the staff, and we felt like we were one big family. And yes, there was a hierarchy. We knew who the boss was. I mean, let's not get it twisted, but we felt like we mattered and we were a part of it. So I can testify to what you're saying. It's a huge change, but it's a mental state that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
So let me say this, and then I'll pass it over to you, because you're right. In an organization, there are different roles. You do have the boss. That's a role.
Yeah.
But the other roles, but there's no role greater than the next. They're all important.
Yes.
Because see, the responsibilities of each role have to be clearly defined. Okay? The problem we see in organizations, the roles are not defined. Most organizations have these jobs. Look, I'm an engineer, so I'm getting ready to say something that's going to be contrary to popular belief. Okay. I've developed many job descriptions in my career.
And they're important to have.
You have to have them.
Yeah.
The law says you need to have them in certain states. But who studies them?
Yeah.
You get a cursory read on it, they sign it, and it's put on the shelf for I don't know how long, but it's there. And when is it updated? Who knows?
Yeah.
When I go look, let me see your revision flow chart. When was the last time that job description was revised? Oh, it's 2021. Oh, 1998?
Yeah.
No wonder I'm making mistakes.
Yeah.
No, I'm only kidding, but no, that's the truth.
So one of the things that happens in these roles is people bring themselves to the role, right? And it takes all of us to make the world go around. Some are more diligent and intentful naturally. Others may be more aloof and just going to do the bare minimum because I really don't fully know. So over time, we evolve where there are people in roles. Quite frankly, we've seen many that are doing the role of some other position simply because it's something that needs to get done.
Right.
That is great from a teamwork perspective. Right. It needs to get done. We're not going to wait for somebody else to do it. But has that become our habit?
Right.
And therefore, we end up with